Hey guys, welcome back to the Daily Raid YouTube channel. If you haven't noticed already, there are a couple of different things around here right now. One, we're in a new location, which is basically my room. Two, I've decided to experiment with my beard, seeing as I have nothing up top, and I've gone with a bit of a handlebar mustache. And three, my lovely mother isn't here with me today. After 3 weeks of reaction videos, I've decided to give her a bit of a break, and I'm coming to you today with something a bit different. Now, usually with the daily raid videos, we end up talking about a particular sport or something that's happening in sports right now. And as was the case in the last 3 weeks, we do a couple of reactions. Today, though, we're going to be doing a review slash list of sorts. And it has to do with two things I'm incredibly passionate about. The first, as is the case with most daily raid videos, is sports. The second is anime and manga. Ever since the age of 16, I have been enthralled by Japanese culture and in particular the anime and manga industry. And one of the things that industry does so well is do a very good portrayal of sports. So today, we're going to be melding the two together. And if you haven't guessed by the title already, I am going to be recommending to you 5 anime you should watch if you want to get into a particular sport. So let's not stand on ceremony and let's get right into it. In at number 5, we have a sport that is quite popular here in India and is perhaps the only reason why it has made it onto this list, and that is burning kabaddi. Outside of cricket and badminton, I'd say kabaddi is the most popular sport in India, which is why I've put it on this list, because it's so different to see a unique sport being represented in a different culture. Japan isn't exactly known for its kabaddi, but burning kabaddi somehow managed to make it into the anime scene slash manga scene over there. And I think a part of the reason why it did make it is because it is a unique sport to them. And it is also why it didn't do as well. In comparison to some of the other sports anime that you'll see on this list and outside of it, burning kabaddi wasn't really that popular. It had one season which came out in 2021, and even that season was heavily critiqued. A lot of people felt there wasn't enough character development, and most importantly, when it actually came to the kabaddi scenes, the animation wasn't really fluid. Nevertheless, I think it's really important to mention it just because of how popular it is here in India. And if you guys want the synopsis, well, here it is. It follows the story of a high school student named Tatsuya Yoigoshi, who is actually a former football player but has lost his passion for sports. Coincidentally, he finds his passion again when he starts playing the sport of kabaddi and joins his high school's kabaddi team. I personally haven't watched the anime, but I have seen a few snips and clips here and there, and it is pretty entertaining. It's certainly going to generate a couple of laughs, and I think overall it's just a fun watch. Just to give you guys an idea about what I'm talking about, I'm just going to roll the clip and you can see just how funny it is watching the Japanese animation for kabaddi.
無臭だ。何か秀でた部分を持つ人間からは特殊な匂いがするもんだが。カバディ。触られたのか。
So, I mean, I think from the clip you guys can see it's pretty funny. And yeah, I know that isn't exactly something you're looking for when you want to get into a new sport, but you can always find different ways to get interested in something new. And even if it is a comedic version of a particular sport, I think it's completely fine. If you do end up watching burning kabaddi and you're not satisfied with just the one season, you can always read the manga, which actually just ended a while back in July of 2024. But yeah, that's burning kabaddi at number 5. Let's move on to number 4. At number 4 is the sport of basketball. And basketball is an incredibly popular sport in Japan, unlike kabaddi. You've had several Japanese athletes make the transition from Japanese basketball to the NBA over the years. Off the top of my head, right now in the NBA, I believe there are guys like Rui Hachimura, Yuta Watanabe, and most recently, a fan favorite of the American audiences, Yuki Kawamura. And since it is so popular, it shouldn't be that surprising to know that there are plenty of renditions of the sport of basketball in the anime slash manga industry. The one I'm going to be talking to you about today is Hajime Noo Sora. Hajime Noo Sora, in my opinion, is one of the most accurate depictions of the sport of basketball when it comes to animation and manga. Primarily because it does a great job of depicting and transitioning the tactics you see in the actual sport to the television screen. Now, unfortunately, much like Burning Kabaddi, the anime didn't do too well. It also had just one season, but a very lengthy season with about 50 episodes. It follows, as is the case with most anime in sports, a high school student named Auno Sora, who is pretty short for a basketball player, but nevertheless a very talented young kid who moves to this new school and tries to join the basketball team only to find out that it's being run by a bunch of delinquents. Nevertheless, he what's the word I'm looking for? He continues to pursue the sport and actually manages to convince the delinquents to start playing basketball and get good at basketball so that they can hopefully win a high school tournament. In my opinion, it has a great story. I think it's just unfortunate that it wasn't renewed for a second season. But if you do find it interesting, you can always read the manga, but that too has a few backlashes. Primarily, while the manga does go further beyond the anime, it is not very consistent in terms of the translation. As you may have guessed, considering manga is a Japanese thing, most of it is written in the Japanese language, the Japanese kanji to be particular, and it requires translators to translate it into other languages so that people can read. The unfortunate thing with Hajime Noo Sora is that it is in this case that it lacks consistency. You can get further ahead in the story by reading the manga, but it really, it's not consistent. You really don't get the actual feel of the manga at the end of the day, and you will find yourself losing interest because the rate at which it is updated is incredibly slow. And that's primarily the reason why it finds itself at number 4. Nevertheless, I do believe you should check it out, and with that in mind, here's the clip.
抜かせるか。
抜いた。うまい。フェイクね。違う、フェイクじゃない。桃春はあの子の動きを読んでコースを塞いだ。それをあの子がスピンして無理やりかわしたんだわ。下がった。ジャンプシュート、ここから。ダックイン。低い。ダックインどころか、この子潜りっぱなしじゃない。
Now, we entered into the top 3, and in at number 3, we have an anime that I haven't watched. Now, you might be wondering, why the hell are you recommending this anime if you haven't watched? Well, I'm recommending this anime primarily because it is perhaps the most popular and longest running sports anime out there, and that is Hajime no Ippo. Hajime no Ippo follows the story of Ippo Makunoichi, who takes up the sport of boxing after he is saved from some high school bullies by a professional boxer. And just to give you an idea of just how popular this is, the first chapter for this manga came out in 1989. It has over 1,400 chapters and it's still continuing to this day. It is an incredibly popular anime, if I haven't said this already. I mean, popular manga and popular anime as well. The anime has about 3 seasons. The first one came out in 2000, and there have been significant breaks in between, but the last season of the anime came out in 2013. And much like the manga, it does a great depiction of the sport of boxing. Now, this is all down to the author of the manga, George Morikawa, who's done some great research into the sport of boxing, and it's thanks to his research that he's been able to transition the techniques and the strategies that you see in the actual sport of boxing into the manga and anime world. It's definitely worth a watch. It has some of the most hyped up scenes ever, which can definitely get you into the sport of boxing. And if you don't believe me, just check out this clip right here.
今度は逃さない。左で捕まえた。いいぞ。行け。三冠もワイルドなパンチで応戦。やっと状態そらしが間に合わない。間違いない。こいつ俺を確実に殺しにしてる。
Moving on, we're finally into the top 2, and these 2 anime are ones that I have watched, so worry not. So in at number 2 is an anime for all the football lovers out there, and that is Blue Lock. One of the reasons why Blue Lock makes it into this list is because of just how hyped it is right now. It is perhaps the premier football anime right now, and it's so popular, it's managed to creep its way into mainstream culture. You can find Blue Lock memes, Blue Lock clips, Blue Lock reels, Blue Lock TikToks everywhere, and it gained hype simply because of how good the first season was. The animation was spectacular, and the story and concept as well. The story, as I've already said a couple of times now, and is usually the case with these anime, is it follows a high school student named Yoichi Isagi, and he is invited to a new project called Project Blue Lock that is being funded by the Japanese Football Federation, with the hope of finding the next great striker that could potentially take Japan to a World Cup final and even win it. It's a very unique concept. It really dives into the mentality of a striker, what it takes to be a striker, how you have to go beyond your limits to reach the very top of the sport. And I mean, it's such a unique concept, and that's why I think it should be here. There are, of course, other football anime that you could pick up. There is Captain Tsubasa, which is the oldest and perhaps most popular. There is Inazuma 11, which is a bit more exaggerated and childish, and a couple of others here and there. But Blue Lock makes this list primarily, like I mentioned earlier, because of how unique the anime is. The only reason why it is not number 1 is simply because of how poor the animation for the second season has been. The second season is running right now, and safe to say, fans aren't happy. The animation has been nothing short of pathetic. It looks like something that was made on the Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, and I mean, a lot of people are pissed. Maybe the one silver lining you could take, if it does come to pass, is the fact that there have been rumors going around that a chunk of the budget has been saved by the animation studio for the animation of a really big match that will be coming into the second season. But yeah, just the fact that it's not been doing too well right now is why it finds itself at number 2. That being said, like I mentioned earlier, it has some great animations, and you can check out exactly why I like the anime so much with this clip.
俺を感じろ。最高だバチラ。あとはトラップして流し込むだけ。
なんでいいんだよこの怪物は。どうする。ジャッジしろ。うちに入った。減速したら前に回り込まれてブロックされる。ダメだ、ゴールのイメージが湧かない。
君は俺に勝てないよ。
黙れ。こっちだ潔。俺に出せ。俺のゴールで勝ちたい。
そうだ潔、思い出せ。お前のゴールを。
ダイレクトシュートだ。
Now that we got number 2 out of the way, we got to number 1. And number 1, in my opinion, is the greatest sports anime of all time. I don't care what you say, when you're talking about GOAT sports anime, the conversation starts and ends with Haikyuu. Haikyuu is the anime that got me into the sport of volleyball. I watched the anime and I fell in love with the sport. It is nothing short of spectacular. It's so good that I even got my sister and mom to watch it, and they love it as well. One of the reasons why it's so mesmerizing, a couple of the reasons why it's so mesmerizing is down to the fact that the character development is great, the story is great, the way they portrayed the sport of volleyball is great. It literally has no flaws, in my opinion. It has about 4 seasons and a movie as well, and it follows the story of 2 middle school rivals, Hinata Shoyo and Kageyama Tobio, who, through some weird luck of the draw or through some unfortunate circumstances, depends on how you see it, end up on the same high school team. And it's how they work together along with the rest of their teammates to make the high school that they're in, which used to be a major powerhouse school, reach the top levels once again. It's so beautifully curated. It just, I'm at a loss of words when I talk about this anime. It does such a good job of explaining how the sport works, the different positions in the sport. It develops the characters so well as human beings and as athletes through the sport. It's just incredible. And if there's one thing you take away from this video, if there's one anime you should watch from this video, it's definitely Haikyuu. There are so many great moments from this, but just to give you guys a sneak peek, here's one that I think perfectly summarizes how good the anime is.
ボールの位置はスパイカーの位置は次にどう動く、どこに飛ぶ、こいつのジャンプのてっぺんはどこだ。今この位置、このタイミング、この角度で。よし。
So with that, we come to the end of the video. These are the 5 anime I think you should watch if you want to get into a new sport. In at number 5, we've got Burning Kabaddi. In at number 4, Auno Sora. At number 3, Hajime Noo. Number 2, Blue Lock. And number 1 is Haikyuu. I hope you guys like this video. If some of you anime watchers out there have seen this and feel that there are other sports anime that should be watched, you can always recommend them down below in the comment section. But yeah, as usual, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.